Hey, it's Marko here from Fair Realty. Today I'm talking about real estate transactions and my experiences over the last 10 years. And the topic I'm going to talk about today is one thing I've noticed over the years is parties involved in a transaction, for the most part, have really low emotional intelligence and have trouble putting themselves in the shoes of the other party. Basically, a lot of people just really lack common sense. And I'll give you one example of many where one party has trouble understanding the other party and the shoes they're in. For example, sometimes we'll book inspections. I'll book an inspection. The buyers will come for the walkthrough with the inspector, but they will bring an entourage of people, both sets of parents, a contractor, other relatives, friends, and on a couple of occasions, the buyer has showed up during the inspection walkthrough, the seller has showed up back in their home either to pick something up, and they've been a bit flustered because there's maybe 10, 15 people in their house. Maybe they'll say something because they're flustered, and then my client, the buyer, will be like, oh my God, that seller is so crazy. I can't believe they made a comment about how many people we had here. This and that. And for me, I totally understand it. If you're a seller or homeowner and you've lived in that property for 10, 15, 20 years, you're trying to sell it, it's still your home. And then if you come home and all of a sudden there's 15 strangers in the middle of your home, yeah, you're going to be a bit flustered because a home is somewhere where you should feel safe, comfortable, etc. And it's funny how the buyers don't really understand that. But if the buyer was selling that home in 10 years, they would feel identical in that situation if there was 15 people in their shoes. Other scenarios of many which have come across over the years is my buyer will say, well, we need to move in 3 weeks. And let's say the sellers have 3 kids under the age of 5. Seller comes back and says, no way, we need at least 60 days to move out. We got 3 kids under 5 years of age. And the buyer will say, well, these people are being totally unreasonable. If they want this house sold, they got to move out in 3 weeks. And I'm thinking, like, what's wrong with you? Just use some common sense. Like, this family has a rational logistical issue, and that, there's a lot of moving parts and they need 60 days to move out. But for whatever reason, people always have a really hard time putting themselves in the shoes of the other party. They often think the other party's being unreasonable versus the other party's actually just being quite reasonable. It's just that the party that can't put themselves in the shoes of the other party just doesn't really have any common sense to think things through logically. That's it for this week. Marko, Juras, Fair.